Hey, welcome to Game Brigade. I am Brian Greer, and today on the show, we are introducing the newest series to my web show, I guess you'd call this. We have done these weekly Kickstarters. We're talking about everything coming out on Kickstarter each week. And with that, I do either my picks of the weeks or my recommendations. And so I thought it would be interesting, since these games are my most interested games. Once the games launch, let's actually dive in a little bit more and give you my thoughts on these games and the campaigns and whether they still hold my interest, if I'm going to be looking at backing it or not backing it. So that's the idea of this show. Mostly got this idea from you guys because everyone in the comment section was like, Brian, we want to know more about the games you're interested in. That's what this show is. I'm not sure on the actual release date of this normal episode because Wednesdays are normally my Should You Back episodes, but most of these campaigns launch on Tuesdays. So I need to figure that out. Maybe I'll record these on Tuesday morning once everything's launched and then launch day of. I don't normally do that, but I did do that today. Let's talk about that one actually. So normally I'll do my intro, but we're going to skip it. So what's new on the show? We just did an episode where I talk about the 10 games that I would do over if I was starting my campaign over. In fact, you can see behind me some of that filming. Filmed that this morning because I knew I had to also do this episode too, and it was my wife's birthday, so I was like, oh shoot, I need to do a lot of filming. Anyways, that's about it for rambling. Check out the episode if you want to check out that episode, though. 10 games I wish I started my collection over with if I was starting over. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the first campaign. Okay, On Mars. This was one of my picks of the week, and I still actually think On Mars is a good-looking game. But looking at the campaign, looking at the prices, I actually think I'm going to be skipping on this one, mostly because I believe I can find this at retail for cheaper than what it's being offered here today. The campaign, the actual gameplay looks really interesting. They actually dive in a little bit more in regards to the individual 4 chapters. This is a 4 modular campaign game, and they dive in a little bit more in terms of what to expect on each of these. And I also was really liking that the 4th one, which is originally titled the solo one, is actually being called a group co-op. So that's great because I was like, man, if I'm not a solo player, which I don't play On Mars solo, then that would be a dead module for me. So this is really interesting. I also want to show that the Chapter 1 Invasion, which is the one versus many aspect, does require at least 2 players. So this is basically a requirement of having 3 players. You got to have the one playing the aliens and 2 other players playing the colonists. So that's interesting with that. In terms of pledge levels, you got $49 for On Mars Alien Invasion. I think that's relatively fine for what this game is going to cost. But I'm suspecting I'm going to be able to find this in retail stores around that $49 price. So I can skip on paying for shipping on this. I'm going to have to pay taxes, but that's okay. I think I can get around that. Not around taxes, but I can get around like having to pay more for shipping. I can get around that. So On Mars Alien Invasion. Now, the only thing I would talk about if you were interested in backing this campaign, one thing that I think is an interesting thing to take note of is the ability to get other Vita La Sara games from Eagle Gryphon relatively easily. Some of these games can be hard to find. Now, I found Venus, I found Gallerus, and I've seen Lisboa and On Mars in retail outlets. I have yet to see Escape Plan, and I have yet to see Cabana V. And I've also not really looked for any of these other titles down here. But if you're looking for a way to complete some of your collection and get some of these games that can be a little bit harder to find, that could be a good way to get into this. Otherwise, I'm personally going to wait for retail. Okay, so the next game I'm going to refer to is Bantam West. And this one, actually, okay, there are 3 games on today's list that are kind of competing for the same spot. If I were to be looking at backing all 3 of these games, they're all kind of competing for the same feel. Bantam West is the first one we're going to talk about. And this one is a very large open world Western simulator with almost doing too much. I mean, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to have so much, but it basically reminds me of Red Dead Redemption. in a board game, and that might be what they're trying to do. Overall, the gameplay looks really good. The only thing that I'm looking at this point in terms of backing it is the pledge levels, in terms of what do I want and where am I looking in terms of backing it. So if we scroll down here to the pledge levels, we have the Home on the Range, which is the base game, and then we have the Shadow Governors, which includes the terrain pack, metal coins, upgraded first player token, and the signed Bantam Planet postcard. So for a $50 value, this is what I'd be looking at here. Is the metal coins and the terrain upgrade pack, to me, worth $50? Because otherwise this $97 one is probably what I'm looking at. I didn't back this obviously in the first 24 hours, so I missed out on the free beautiful map, which is kind of unfortunate. So I'm kind of bummed out about that already. These other stretch goals, not stretch goals, these other pledge levels though, to me are not as enticing. The collector's catch, I don't need 2x copies to store one forever, and obviously we're not a retailer, so we're obviously looking here to see which one is more enticing. Now I do think it's interesting they're putting this with a green star, because they're trying to tell you, hey, tell your brain this is the one you want, this is green, this is red, this is stop. That's a little marketing trick. Otherwise though, in my opinion, 97 is the one we're going to go with, and then we're going to use that number looking at the other campaigns to see which one provides a lot of value, because we are getting a lot with Bantam West. I think the question here with this one though is, do you have a player group that's going to be able to dive into this game that's trying to really immerse you in the world of this Western world? I think that's the biggest question. Plus it's got some take that mechanics that are available. I don't necessarily think that they're always there. The next game we mentioned was Spires and Hildegard, and I am actually interested in this one. There's a problem with this one though. When we scroll down, and I don't know if you could see all of them, my head is kind of in the way. Well, if we scroll down maybe a little further, I plan on doing this a different way, and this isn't working out. Okay, we're going to do it the way I was originally going to do it. Right here we have the pledge levels. And if we go down here, we have $40, Hildegard. This is available. There's 3,122 backers. And then we have the Grey Oaks bundle for $80, which includes the Spire's End Hildegard as well as Spire's End. So if you're interested in playing the original game, if you didn't have that and you want to kind of combine them for this this $80 price, but they limited it to 50 backers. If you can see that right there, reward no longer available, and that really bums me out, because when I purchase a game, I'm creating a collection. I'm building a collection of something that is kind of intentional. I want it to be intentional and something that I'll be proud of and look at and be like, yes, I can play all these games. I know exactly the story of Hildegard and how she was implemented in the original Spire's End and how we're kind of looking at her here. Otherwise, the game looks cool. I really like this art. I like the idea of playing this card here, and now we're doing this. Like that, it seems cool in terms of uniqueness, especially in a card game. You don't get this kind of content in a card game lately. So I'm really kind of bummed that this is that way, and it's actually preventing me from backing this game. So, if you guys are watching this and you are from the company, I can't remember the company actually who does this. Hold on, let me check. Greg Favreau, if this is you, I'm bummed. Just let you know. All right, Dune House Secrets. Now, this is not on Kickstarter, but we did talk about it because it is launching its pre-order campaign. And the pre-order campaign is including some exclusives if you pre-order it. So I was excited for that because this Dune game does look really cool, and I'm probably going to pick it up at some point. It just depends when. So when we come here and we look at the Dune content, we're trying to see what do we have that's available. We have some character backstories. Not really too interested about that. Secret messages for each character, adding hidden information to the game with 3 envelopes containing secret messages for each character to be privately read before each chapter. That's cool. Is it worth it? I don't know. 5 postcards from Tel Gazir, whatever, not worth it. And then unlocked large map of Akaris, which is cool. Arcus, I don't know how to pronounce this. If you're a Dune fanboy, please don't make fun of me. But this is locked. So when we're looking at this, we also have to consider that we have to pay for shipping with these guys. And so if I click this US pre-order now, $45, we're also going to have to consider shipping with this. Oh my gosh, go away. Definitely probably going to be looking for this in retail and not be backing this through their pre-order system. I don't think there's enough incentives with the exclusives to want me to warrant paying $20 in shipping. I'm basically asking myself, are those secret messages worth $20, or could I eventually maybe find this at retail for $45 to $39.99, something like that? So that's Dune House Secrets. We're holding off. They do have free shipping if you do $50 and up, but this is $45, so what can you do? Okay, the Volfyirion Guilds. This is one that I did mark down as interesting because I was looking at a kind of a card game. I realized for me personally that I'm no longer really looking at this campaign. Not in the sense that the campaign is bad or that this isn't a good game, because I do think it looks really interesting and fun if you're into this kind of thing. It's just not going to fit into my collection in terms of what I need this to fill. So I'm no longer really checking out this campaign. I kind of went through all the cards here, thought, okay, what's inside the box? What am I looking at? What am I going to do with this game? And will I get it played? And I don't think that this is going to be something I'm going to need in my personal collection. So I'm no longer looking at this one personally. So I'll actually unclick it and save because unfortunately it is off the list. The next one, I'm always down here at the bottom. The next one we're looking at is Soul Raiders. And this is one we did a preview on if you were interested in seeing my initial thoughts, which was, I did my best in terms of like trying to give you guys the best interpretation of how I played the game and what I thought of it. But it was just the intro mission. Very hard to like actually get a good grasp of the game. But what I'm probably going to be looking at once the Pledge Manager comes out is picking up the Gwymire edition. I looked at all the current things available with this game and the differences between the standard edition and the Gwymire edition, and I feel like for this one, for my collection, I'm probably going to want the deluxeified version. I had fun with this game. It was a very interesting take. The only thing, and I remember Quackalope actually brought this up, is I wish these cards had more information as to what may happen based on your decision paths, because you do start not looking at the board, like the arts as you draw them, as closely as I think they deserve to be looked. I almost want it like a Where's Waldo, not like in the sense of like we're staring at it for 30 minutes, but like I really want to look at it and just kind of think about, or it's a game that's a good idea, like Seventh Continent, where you actually had to look at the cards because sometimes there were secret messages or something that might be relevant to the story on the card. So something like that I think would be really, really cool for this game. I don't know how far they are in terms of development, but I think that would be interesting. And we've told them that, so hopefully they make a change. The other biggest drawback that I had for this one was the way they do the fatigue in terms of losing your cards. I don't know if they're going to make a change to that. That is a kind of a stinker. But overall, the gameplay was quick and easy to teach, and I think I'll be able to get this played in multiple different plays with different groups. So looking forward to that. Okay, Distilled. Now, this is the second game in that trio of games that are kind of fulfilling the same slot. Distilled is one that is very interesting to me, and it's kind of full like looking in terms of my collection. One, I don't have any alcohol-based games other than Vinos, and Vinos is such a heavy euro that it's hard for me to get that to the table as often. So if I'm looking for a night where we got some more of a casual game night, I think Distilled might be a good play, like something where I'm playing games like Wingspan. I think Distilled would be a good game to be in a Wingspan-like setting if I was going to play that type of game with those type of people, where we could have some Jamesons or something and enjoying the game night. I think Distilled would be a great selection for me. Again, looking at the pledge levels here, we have the base pledge. Where are you at right here? That's the all-in. Man, they have so many freaking pledge levels right here. Original blend base game pledge, $55 or more. So when I'm looking at Distilled and I'm looking at Bantam West, you're looking at like a $50 discount basically between the two. And I need to see which one is going to see more play within my player group. It is also nice that my LGS has pre-ordered Distilled, so there's a very high chance that I'll be actually picking this up from my LGS rather than backing this, so that I can save myself on shipping as well. So that is Distilled. Again, I'm actually very interested in this one. I think it looks incredible. Very excited to actually play this and get it to the table. Okay, the coming up to the end here. Oh God, I'm always, guys, it's because I'm re-looking at the campaign, making sure I'm not missing anything. Velocity Vanguard. I am backing this one right now. This is Velocity Vanguard relaunched. We talked about that this one was very interesting, and I gave it my indie developer thumbs up. Now, they have produced a game here that I feel like fits in a very... I am backing, as you can see this. I'm in at $175. There is a possibility, no offense to the people here with making this game, but there is a possibility I may cancel my pledge, only because this game, to me, in my heart and in what I want to play, looks like a game I think would be so much fun. But am I going to get this played by other people? Is it so abstract that other players aren't going to want to play it with me? And I'm a little fearful of that. So I'm kind of giving myself like opportunities to think, relooking at the campaign. I wanted to give them a good pledge, help them get to their pledge level. They just finally finished, and maybe I'll keep it. It's not a ton of money, 175. It's enough. I mean, it's money. Money's valuable, but I really want to help these guys get to their pledge. So I'm kind of torn on it. Okay, the next one, Chronicles of Drunagor, Age of Darkness Apocalypse. I am also back in this one. I'm in on the Apocalypse level to get that, that free mini, trying to get that 24-hour bonus here, the 48-hour gift. Very interested in this game. I am actually trying my hardest to get some gameplay of the original game in prior to the ending of this campaign. So I have 15 days to get a copy of the original game, get it played, so I can give you guys as much information as possible. Now, this is one I'm not going to dive too much on this episode on, because I think there's enough here and there's going to be more people interested in it that I should be doing my Should You Back on it. So while I should normally be recording Should You Back right now on this, we're doing this episode now. So there's going to be a little bit of a delay as we're going down the week. But I do think this one deserves a little bit more attention so people are aware of what they're buying and at what levels are the best ones to purchase in terms of their money. And then later, I'm running out of breath here because I'm run on sentencing my own speech. Later in the week or next 2 weeks, I'm hoping to get the core game played so that I can give you guys my thoughts on that before this ends, because I am very much high on this game and I am very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an amazing game, but I need to know. I would like to play it and know. Okay, that video's been shown. So this is Animal Adventures, The Faraway Sea, and this is the 5e D&D game by Steamforged Games, and I've actually backed this one. I don't know why. One of my commenters on one of my videos made a very interesting comment where they said, hey, don't discredit that game. Like, your daughter may want to play it. And I was looking at the minis and I'm like, you know what? He's right. Like, this looks like something I would love to play with my daughter as I introduce her to gaming. So I ended up backing it. So I'm in on this one. Plus, my wife loves steampunk. This has got a lot of steampunk stuff. I think these minis will be incredible to paint. I've got a few years prior to my daughter being even close to being ready to play this, but I'm excited to actually have something that I can give to her on her birthday, which is coming up. So that's about it. And the last game that we're going to be talking about today is Oros. And this is the third game on that list of 3 games that are kind of fulfilling that same slot in terms of what I'd be looking to fulfill in my collection. Now, these games are all extremely different, but they're kind of in that same breath in terms of the space. Now, I feel like Bantam West and I feel like Oros have a little bit longer playtime than Distilled, but I think they're both going to be incredible games regardless. I just don't have the money to back all three or purchase all three right now. So I have to really decide which one is the one for me. Now, in terms of price points, again, we're at that $50 for the standard edition. So if you're looking for a price comparison that we were looking at with Distilled, Oros, and Bantam West, Distilled and Oros are obviously winning that at $50. And then you have the collector's edition. Again, you have to decide if the digital wallpaper and social media kits are worth it to you, and the edition growth incentives. I'm actually trying to be in contact here with the publisher to get a playthrough of this game. So I'm hoping to get this played either Thursday or Friday, which will give me more information to relay to you guys in terms of what I think and whether or not this is a great back or not. Because I've heard a lot of stuff from other content creators in terms of what they think, and they're pretty high on it. But I like to get it at my own taste. I want to know for sure. So that's about it. So we're going to cut it back to my face. What do you guys think of this new series where I'm going to do a quick run through of the campaigns that are already live now, and we could talk about which ones I like and dislike. Let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm doing this for you guys specifically because you guys requested it. I'd love to know more in the comments. If you really want to help me out, remember, thumbs up really helps my channel. We've been hitting that 100 thumbs up mark like consistently, so thank you guys for that. Appreciate it. Leave a comment and subscribe if you want to be part of the Game Brigade community. Remember, we have a Discord link and all the not affiliate links, like all the associated links down below. So you are more than welcome to check out the Patreon or the Discord and join the community. I will be here probably tomorrow as well, so I'll talk to you guys very soon.